Stop what you're doing. Look at this number. 62%. That's the percentage of small businesses that fail with Facebook ads. And it's not that you're bad at marketing, you're just using the wrong blueprint. You're losing money because you don't understand the 3 secret rules of the meta auction system. I'm here to tell you that it's not your fault. The problem isn't the platform, it's your strategy. And in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to expose the real mechanics of the Facebook ads machine, why your boost post button is a trap, and give you the simple 3-pillar strategy I use to turn failing campaigns into profit. This is the exact blueprint that you've been missing. Hi, my name is Bruce Hillier, and I've spent the last 2 years running ads for garage door contractors. And I've wasted thousands of dollars on ads learning these lessons just so you don't have to. So let's dive in. Okay, so why are 62% of businesses failing? It's not because Facebook ads don't work. Facebook ads work incredibly well. I mean, Meta made $121 billion in ad revenue just last year. So the problem is that most people are approaching this wrong. Let me tell you the biggest mistake I see. You know that button on your Facebook page that says Boost Post? Yeah, well, that glowing, tempting button that makes it so easy to get your content in front of people, that button is designed specifically to make Meta money, not you. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying it's the worst possible way to start if you want actual results. Here's the shift you need. You're not buying impressions, you're entering a competition for attention. So think about that. Every single second, millions of people are scrolling through Facebook. Your ad is one of thousands fighting for their eyeballs. And so you're competing against their friends, their family, entertainment, and yes, other advertisers. And here's the thing, Meta knows this. Meta's goal is to keep users scrolling. Your ad, it's like an interruption. If your ad is bad, users, they'll just leave, they'll close the app. So Meta loses money because that user is gone. So what does Meta do then? Meta rewards good ads. It shows good ads more often because it charges less for them. Bad ads, they just get buried. And this is the foundation of everything we're gonna be talking about today. So you're not fighting Meta, you need to be working with Meta, and Meta will then help you win. But only if you give it what it wants, which is an ad that users actually want to see. So now that we've actually shifted your mindset, let's talk about the actual mechanics. And this is where most people get confused. And honestly, it's where the gurus are lying to you. You've probably heard people say, just bid higher and you'll win. But that's wrong. Dead wrong, in fact. Facebook ads don't work like a traditional auction where the highest bidder wins. If that were the case, only the biggest companies with the biggest budgets would ever win, and that's not what we see. In fact, what we see instead is Meta uses something called the total value formula. And this is the secret sauce. Here it is. Total value is equal to the advertiser bid plus estimated auction rate plus ad quality and relevance. Okay, so let's talk about the first variable, advertiser bid. This is the easiest one to understand, and it's how much you're willing to pay for your desired action, whether it be a click, a purchase, a lead. And so here's my advice for this part. Don't overthink it. So beginners use automatic bidding strategy called lowest cost, and it's literally designed to get you the best results for your budget. And so just let the algorithm do the work. You're not gonna be able to outbid people like Amazon anyway, so don't even try. The second variable is estimated action rates. This is Meta's prediction of how likely a person is gonna take your desired action. So if you're running a purchase campaign, Meta is predicting how likely is this person actually gonna buy. And the better data that you give to Meta, the better its predictions are going to become. And how do you give Meta better data? Through the Meta Pixel. Every time someone visits your website, clicks your ad, or makes a purchase, that data goes back to Meta. Meta then learns and Meta gets smarter. So if you're not using the pixel, you're essentially handicapping yourself. And the third variable is ad quality and relevance. And here's where the magic actually happens. This is measured by user feedback, and when someone actually sees your ad, do they click it? Do they like it? Do they leave a comment? Or do they hide it and report it as irrelevant? Meta tracks all of this, but here's the kicker. A great ad creative can absolutely crush a high bid. I mean, I've seen it with ads with a 50-cent bid be ads with a $5 bid because the creative was so good that users actually wanted to engage with it. So let me ask you this. If you had to choose between spending your time increasing your bid or improving your creative, which one would you choose? And the answer should be obvious. Your creative is your leverage, and that's where you win. So let me give you a real example. Imagine 2 advertisers, both selling the same product. Advertiser A has a $2 bid and a mediocre ad. Now advertiser B has a 50-cent bid and a killer ad that stops the scroll. Who do you think would win? It should be advertiser B, right? Almost 9 times out of 10. Why? Because Meta sees that advertiser B's ad has a higher quality score and better engagement. Meta makes more money in the long run by showing advertiser B's ad because users are more likely to engage with it. And so this is that core mechanic I was talking about. This is how you're gonna win. And we're gonna dive deep into how to create the killer ad in just a few minutes. All right, so by now you should understand the auction system. The next thing I need to teach you is the structure of the Facebook ad campaign. And this part is critical because most beginners will sometimes get this wrong, and it costs them thousands of dollars to fix. Facebook campaigns have 3 different levels. Think of it like a pyramid. At the top you have your campaign, in the middle you have your ad set, and the bottom you have your actual ad. Each level has one job and one job only. If you try to do multiple things at one level, you're gonna confuse yourself and confuse the algorithm, something that you don't want to do. So I'm gonna explain to you each one. The first pillar is the campaign level. This is your goal. At the campaign level, you wanna choose your objective. What do you want to happen? Do you want people to be aware of your brand? Do you want them to consider your product, or do you want them to buy? These are called awareness, consideration, and conversion objectives. And here's a critical part. You need to choose your objective based on your business goal, not based on what seems easiest. I see so many beginners, they choose engagement as their objective because they think it's the easiest. But if your actual goal is to make sales, you're sabotaging yourself. You're telling Meta to optimize for likes and comments, not purchases. So then Meta will do exactly what you ask, and you'll get a bunch of likes and 0 sales. So you need to be thinking about your business. What's the actual end goal? Is it to build a list of email subscribers? Is it to get people to download a free guide? Is it to make a purchase? You need to be able to choose the objective that matches your end goal. So the second pillar is the ad set level. This will be your audience and your budget. So once you've chosen that objective at the campaign level, you'll need to move to the ad set level. This is where you tell Meta who to show your ad to and how much to spend. For audience targeting, here's my advice. Use broad targeting like lookalike audiences, and I know it sounds counterintuitive. You might think, shouldn't I target people interested in my specific niche? And the answer is not at the beginning, and here's why. Meta algorithm is incredibly good at finding the right people. If you over specify your audience, like people interested in yoga, age 25, 35, living in California with a household income of over $75,000, you're limiting Meta's ability to find people who are actually likely to convert. You're basically saying, only show this to these specific people. And you're missing out on people who might be the perfect customer, but don't fit your narrow criteria, right? So what I suggest you do instead is use a broader targeting. Tell Meta your core audience, like people aged 25 to 45 in this local area. Don't make it hyper specific. And then let the algorithm figure out who's most likely to buy. Or you can use a lookalike audience, which is Meta's way of saying, find people who look like my best customer. And I find this to be incredibly powerful. And as for your budget, here's the rule I follow. Spend enough to get through the learning phase. So hypothetically, for a specific business, if it took 50 conversions in 7 days to exit a learning phase, if their budget was too small, they'll never be able to reach those 50 conversions. And these 50 conversions are dependent on how high ticket your product is, for example. So if your product costs $100 and you have a 2% conversion rate, you need about 2,500 clicks to get 50 conversions. At $1 cost per click, that's 2,500 in budget. So you need to make sure you have enough runway. And then the third and final pillar is the ad level. This is your creative. This is the actual ad that the user sees. And here's where I want you to focus 80% of your effort. This is what determines the ad quality score that I was talking about before. This is what stops the scroll, and this is what makes the difference between a 62% failure rate and a profitable campaign. So we're gonna dive deep into a creative strategy within the next section. But for now, just understand. The ad level is not about having multiple versions. You can have multiple ads within an ad set, don't get me wrong, but each ad should be a distinctive creative test. Don't just change the headline and call it a new ad. You need to be changing the fundamentals, like the hook, the visual, and the entire approach, which we'll talk about the testing framework in a moment. So to recap, campaign is the goal, ad set is the audience and budget, and the ad is the creative. Each one has its own job, and you don't want to mix them up. Don't try to do multiple things at one level. And this will be the structure for your foundation. Okay, so this is where it gets fun, because now we're gonna be talking about the thing that actually makes or breaks your campaign, the creative. I wanna start with the harsh truth. Most ads suck. They're boring, they're salesy, they're trying too hard to convince someone to buy. And just like you, users can smell it from a mile away. The moment someone sees your ad, they're already making a decision. Do I want to keep scrolling or do I want to engage with this? You have about 3 seconds. That's it. 3 seconds to stop the scroll. So how do you do that? You use what's known as a pattern interrupt. Your ad needs to be different from everyone else on the feed. It needs to stand out. And there's a few ways to do this. First, you can use unusual visuals. Don't just show your product, show something unexpected. Show a problem, a transformation. Show something that makes someone go, wait, what? That's a pattern interrupt. Another thing you can use is direct questions. Are you tired of X problem? What if I told you you can save this much on your heating bill? That's a surprising claim. And these questions make the brain stop and think. Third, you want to use contrast. Show the before and after. Show the pain and the solution. Contrast is very powerful. Fourth, you can use movement. If you're using a video, make sure it's something that's moving in the first frame. A static image of a person standing still is not a pattern interrupt. A video of someone doing something surprising is. So once you stop the scroll, you need to earn the engagement. And the way you do that is by following the hook, problem, solution, proof, CTA framework. So let's talk about that first part, hook. That is what interrupts the pattern. This is what stops the scroll. It's the first line of your copy. It's the first frame of your video. And then the next part is the problem. Now that you have their attention, you need to make them feel the problem. Don't just state it, you need to make them feel it. If your product solves the problem of not having enough time, show someone who's stressed and overwhelmed. Make them think, oh, that's me. The next part is solution. You want to introduce your solution, but here's the key. Don't be talking about the features, you need to be talking about the benefit. Not our software has automation, but get 10 hours of your week back. Benefits are emotional. Features, they're just boring. You then want to give them proof that your solution works. This could be a testimonial, a before and after photo, a statistic, or a case study. People need to believe you before they'll buy. And then the last part, you need to have a call to action. You need to tell them exactly what to do. Click here to learn more, buy now, download free guide, click this ad, go to the next page and schedule a call. Don't be vague. This is where most people mess up. They think they need to test a bunch of different ads all at once. And they do, but then they do it wrong. They change the headline, the image, the copy, the CTA, everything at once. And they don't know which change actually moved the needle. Instead, use what I call the 3-2-1 testing method. You test 3 different hooks or creatives, 2 different headlines, and 1 main body copy. This way you're changing 1 variable at a time, and you'll know exactly which one is working. For example, you might test out 3 different images, all with the same headline and copy. Once you find the winning image, you keep it and just test 2 different headlines with it. Once you find the winning headline, you keep that one and you test 2 different body copies. This is how you systematically improve your ads. And here's one more thing about the offer itself. Your ad is only as good as your offer. If you're asking someone to buy something they don't want, no amount of creative genius is going to fix that. So think about your offer. What are you actually asking the customer to do? And is it irresistible? An irresistible offer has 3 different things. It solves a real problem, it's easy to understand, and it creates a sense of urgency. Buy now and get 50% off is better than buy our product. Sign up for a free webinar happening tomorrow is way better than sign up for a webinar. So to recap, you need to stop the scroll with a pattern interrupt, then earn the engagement with the hook, problem, solution, proof, CTA framework. Then you test systematically with the 3-2-1 method, and then make sure your offer is irresistible. Do these things and I'm pretty sure your creative will crush it. All right, so you set up your campaign, you've launched an amazing ad. Now you've pressed launch. Now what? This is where most garage door companies panic. They launch their campaign and 24 hours later, they're checking it every hour. Why aren't I getting any sales yet? And they start changing things. They adjust the budget, they change the creative, they switch the audience, and then they just sabotage themselves. The first rule of optimization is patience is profit. You need to let the algorithm learn. When you first launch a campaign, Meta enters what's called the learning phase. During that phase, the algorithm is testing different audiences, different placements, and different times a day. It's testing who's most likely to convert, and this phase typically lasts until you hit 50 conversions, like I said before, depending on the ticket of your item. During this time, the cost per result might be high. Your metrics might look bad, but that's normal. That's the algorithm learning. So you don't want to touch your campaign during the learning phase. And I know it's so tempting. I know you really want to optimize, but you'll just confuse the algorithm. You have to let it learn. And then once you've exited the learning phase, then you can start optimizing. So let's talk about the metrics that actually matter. Because there are a lot of metrics in Facebook Ads Manager, and most of them are vanity metrics that don't mean anything. So the most important one is the cost per result, the CPR. It's how much you're paying for your desired action. If you're running a purchase campaign, it's cost per purchase. If you're running a lead campaign, it's cost per lead. This is the metric that determines whether your campaign is actually profitable. If your CPR is lower than your profit margin, you're winning. Click-through rate, CTR, this is the percentage of people who see your ad and click it. A good CTR is above 1%. And if your CTR is below 1%, it usually means your creative isn't stopping the scroll. So it's time to test new creatives. Frequency, this is how many times the same person is seeing your ad. If your frequency is above 3 and your CPR is rising, it's a sign that you're running out of a relevant target audience. This means that it's either time to expand your audience or pause the ad. And so these are the 3 metrics you should care about. You need to ignore the impressions, ignore the reach, and ignore the engagement rate. These are just vanity metrics. They may feel good, but they don't actually make you any money. Now, when should you actually turn off an ad? And here are my kill switch rules. Rule number 1, if frequency is above 3 and CPR is rising, pause the ad. This means you're reaching the same people over and over again, and they're tired of seeing it. If CTR is below 1% after 3 days, you need to pause the ad again. This means that your creative just isn't resonating and it's time to test something new. If your CPR is 2 times higher than your profit margin, you need to pause the ad because this means that you're losing money. But here's the thing, don't just pause and give up. When you pause an ad, you should immediately launch a new creative test. Remember the 3-2-1 method? Use that. And you need to be testing new hooks, new visuals, and you need to constantly be reiterating. And here's the secret to scaling. When you find an ad that isn't working, don't just increase the budget in the same ad set. Instead, duplicate the ad into a new ad set or campaign. And why? Because when you duplicate, you reset the learning phase. The algorithm gets a new fresh start with a new audience pool, and you're not fighting against ad fatigue. You're not competing with your own ads, you're expanding into new territory. So the optimization loop looks like this. Launch, wait for learning phase, check metrics. If it's working, duplicate to a new ad set. If it's not working, test new creative, repeat. And this is how you're gonna scale profitably. This is how you turn a $100 winner into a $1,000 winner. All right, let's recap what we've covered because this is the blueprint that is going to change your Facebook ads game. First, you've learned that Facebook ads is a competition, not a lottery. It's about total value, not just the highest bid. You've also learned that the ad quality and creative are your biggest leverage. Second, you've learned about the 3-pillar structure that campaign is equal to the goal, ad set is equal to audience and budget, and the ad is the creative. And each one has its own job and you don't want to mix them up. Number 3, you've learned that creative is king. You've learned how to stop the scroll with a pattern interrupt. You've learned the hook problem solution proof CTA framework, and you've learned the 3-2-1 testing method. So you can systematically improve your ads from there. 4, you've learned the optimization loop. You learn to be patient during the learning phase. You learn which metrics actually matter, and you learn how to scale by duplicating winning ads into new ad sets. These 4 principles, they're everything. If you follow them, you will not be part of the 62% failure rate. You're gonna be part of the 38% that actually makes money with Facebook ads. But here's the thing, knowledge without action is worthless. Let me repeat that. Knowledge without action is worthless. You could watch this video and think it's great, and then go back to boosting posts on your Facebook page, and nothing will change. So I'm challenging you right now. Pick one campaign, pick one product or service, and apply everything you learned today. Set up your campaign using the right objective, use broad targeting, create an ad with a pattern interrupt. Test the 3-2-1 method, launch it, wait for the learning phase, check your metrics, and iterate. Do that one time and you'll see the difference. You'll see what it's like to actually have a campaign that actually works. And if you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to like it and subscribe. You can always change your mind later. I'm constantly putting out content about Facebook ads, email marketing, digital marketing strategies, and content that specifically helps garage door contractors. And in the description, I put a link where you can schedule an appointment with my team. That way, if you have any problems with your Facebook ads, you can contact us and we'll help run you through the problem and solve it. So the only thing left is to take action. Go make some money and I'll see you in the next video.